Welcome to Spirit Talks, because your spirit talks to you. Hello and welcome to Spirit Talks. I'm Susie Beiler.
And I'm Maximilliam Haver.
This episode's topic is fulfillment.
Thanks for joining us and enjoy.
Max, can you tell us about fulfillment? What does it really mean?
I believe fulfillment is whenever you're doing the actions and having the thoughts and holding the energy and feeling the feelings that are in alignment with your soul's and heart's desires. That's when you feel a fulfillment, a sense of your purpose being fulfilled, a sense of being filled with a type of pleasure that's not based on ego desires. And so that's, something to be aware of, is that often what people can get distracted by on their path and growth is ego desires that tend to be based on instant gratification. And this is sort of an issue with people that follow the philosophy of following their excitement as being their inner guidance, is that excitement can often lead to instant gratification, so to be discerning on that path.
Well, that's a good distinction to think about. Instant gratification versus true fulfillment. True fulfillment sounds much more sustainable and much more true to who you are. Whereas instant gratification could just be something that feeds your ego or feeds you in the moment, but isn't necessarily something sustainable that's going to last as something that you really feel full by. So let's give some examples. You go to a restaurant and you have a delicious meal. True fulfillment or instant gratification?
Well, it depends what kind of meal you had, how it resonates with your body, what your body was needing, and how you either followed what flavors you're used to or what flavors you're wanting simply out of the satisfaction of the flavor rather than the satisfaction of that health that your body's getting. And there is a type of satisfaction that you do feel when your body feels healthy.
I understand. Jumping out of an airplane, true fulfillment or instant gratification?
Well, this depends. If it's jumping out of an airplane for reasons of types of self-validation or risk to simply have an adrenaline experience in the body to overcome or distract yourself from boredom. These are the ego-based side of it. If it's in alignment with your heart and soul, it's going to be more of an expression of yourself. It's going to be you're wanting to feel like it's, like what it's like to be in the air and the wind, with the birds, or
maybe you're conquering a fear.
You're conquering a fear. Lots of these things. So it's more in alignment with those core aspects rather than the more surface type experiences.
Having sex, true fulfillment or instant gratification?
Same sort of scenario, that you can be seeking that external pleasure of the physical body and the either the validation or the power or the distraction from boredom or these sorts of things that are surface experiences and not really in touch with the core of what you're sharing, and which is that heart energy, that creative energy. And so you can have experiences that have both elements, but the more you're engaged with those core elements that resonate with your heart and soul, the more fulfilling and sustainable these things will be that you experience.
Yeah. I'd like to give an example from my own life with my business. I had lots of opportunities along the way that would have given some money or some instant gratification, but those opportunities didn't feel aligned with my heart, so I never did them. I always had this commitment to really follow my heart and do things my way, even if it didn't make sense to other people in the business world. And so I finally gotten to a place where I'm more in the flow. Um, but sometimes it requires a lot of patience and commitment when you want to experience true fulfillment rather than instant gratification. It's called instant gratification for a reason. Sometimes true fulfillment takes a bit more time. Would you like to speak to that?
Yes, it's the well, in the business world, it's looking at this is a cultural thing that permeates a lot of activities in business, is that often business oriented people look at short-term cost and short-term benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And so they see how quickly they can make the most of something and not think anything further of it. What they don't consider is the long-term cost and the long-term benefit. Tends to be where fulfillment is found, but not always. Sometimes it can be quite instant, but it's simply making that choice that may be less comfortable or less traditional or those sorts of things. So that long-term benefit, and it can either have a short-term cost or a long-term cost. So that's just the sort of business sort of look at that sort of idea of it.
Yeah. I wanted to bring up the business thing because I know many light workers are trying to kind of make it. And it can be very tempting to take those opportunities that seem sparkly and shiny and would help you pay your rent for the month. I totally get it, and I encourage you to do it your way and to follow your heart, because that's where that long-term benefit comes in. It took a good 10 years and a lot of those 10 years were struggle to pay the bills and make the rent and all those kinds of things. And I I could never sell out though. I could never do something that went against the fiber of my being and the calling of my soul and my heart. And for me, that has given me such fulfillment. Even in those times of struggle, there was still a sense of fulfillment because I knew I was in integrity with myself. I knew I was following my path. And I think that's where the ultimate fulfillment comes in for all of us, is when we are following our path. Mm-hmm. When we're listening to our hearts, following the desires of our soul, not distracted by what someone else is offering us if it's not in alignment with us. Whether it's business or your spiritual path or your life, or, for me it all comes together. But whatever it is, if you're following your heart and your soul, that's when you're going to feel true fulfillment. And we live a simple life. We don't have much. I don't need much. I don't want much. That's fulfilling to me too, is to be able to live simply and feel the fulfillment of knowing that I'm in integrity with myself and I'm on my path.
Very good. And another thing to remember is that if it does resonate with you to follow something that will lead you to large gains, which you are then to use for projects assisting people, then to follow it.
Absolutely.
Like not to judge it because it seems that it goes against certain ideas of being humble or being conservative with resources or these sorts of things, but to follow it because it resonates with you and that you have another purpose you're going to use that for.
Absolutely. I am totally willing to receive as much prosperity as the universe wants to give me, and my commitment is always to use that for the highest good. So there's not a limit on that. I can still live simply and have a lot, but it comes back to what is truly fulfilling. And that's what I need to follow.
And so acquiring large resources that are, to be stewarded to the collective and to assist everyone. And so that's sort of, if that's your path.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you want to share about true fulfillment?
What comes up a lot when people are following that path and that desire for true fulfillment of their heart and soul is they'll get often people telling them that they can't do it, or that it's impossible, or that it's crazy, or all these sorts of things. And to know that they say that because it's something that irks them, because there's something in themselves that they're wanting to express and follow.
Right.
And so
see it as the projection that
so
it is.
Understand why they're saying that, and simply allow them to be, and let them know you're making your choice, and right. you have belief in yourself and your ability to succeed, and that
use it as fuel.
Yeah, and you'll be supported, especially when you allow it to be a lesson to assist others, that they too can follow and right. find their fulfillment.
The more closely you are aligned with your soul and your heart, and you play that out in your everyday life, the more support you get. It's just how it works. It's pretty neat to have that experience of being supported when you're following your path. So just know that, when it seems like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? If this is truly what your heart and soul desires, you have the support you need. So go for it.
Yeah, I've heard plenty of stories of where people follow it and they think their life is falling apart, but it's clearing. And then
right. Some things have to fall apart in order for things to come together.
And then something just comes together really quick, and it's pretty amazing what can happen when you're standing in that energy and you're committed to it.
Absolutely. So believe in yourselves and allow yourselves to follow your heart and the desires of your soul so that you can experience and receive true and deep fulfillment.
May you fulfill all your heart's and soul's desires with ease, grace, comfort, and great beauty.